The movie is as wonderful as that trailer would predict, but this is a bigger conversation than just the movie itself. It's about art and the role that it plays in telling the story, a better story, as this conference is focused on. I'm a heart surgeon. I work in an operating theater, because although we respect the role of science and surgery, I can tell you there's a lot of art as well. And it's not STEM, it's STEAM, science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. And the art part of this discussion, we've not spoken about as much. It's been a pillar in some areas, but we wanted to focus on a medium that probably is the most powerful these days to influence thought, which is the making of movies. And the thoughts behind the movies and the people making them are critical elements of this discussion. So Eduardo Verástegui, superb producer of The Sound of Freedom, is with us today to address several big issues. The first of these issues, and my wife Lisa will make sure that we stay on target. I met Eduardo 4 years ago. Tony Robbins had said to me, you have to tackle this topic of child sex trafficking. This movie does it beautifully. We did a little screening. I had him on the show. Nothing. For 4 years, I have waited to see this movie. It finally came out this summer with remarkable, shocking success. What took so long? What went down? And why did you keep going? I mean, you're a producer. You should have quit this movie and moved on to a better project.
Well, before I answer, thank you very much for inviting me here. Thank you, Jordan, for putting this event together. It's an honor for me to be here with all of you. Thank you again. You know, when I learned about what happened to these children, when I learned what these children are going through, the pain that they're going through, these kids are being raped 10 to 15 times a day. This is a global problem, especially between US and Mexico. United States is the #1 consumer of child sex in the world. Mexico is the #1 provider. 57 children disappear in Mexico every day. Every 20 minutes, one more, and then another one, and another one. 21,000 a year. This is the official numbers. This is the official information that the government of Mexico gave us. I think it's many more, many more. When you learn about this, you can't sleep again. Because evil triumphs when good people remain silent. And when good people remain silent, they're not good people anymore because they are part of the problem. And that's why I decided to make this movie along with Alejandro Monteverde, the director of this film, 8 years ago. 8 years of work for 2 hours of your time, which is what the movie lasts. And we finished this movie almost 5 years ago. And why it took us so long? Because every studio passed. Every studio told us this is not a good business. Nobody will see a movie about child trafficking. How can we market this film? I knocked another door, and they told me the same. And then I knocked another door, and they told me the same. This movie is not a good business for us. This movie is not for us. Disney had that movie for a year. And after they saw the movie 3 or 4 times, they told me, Eduardo, this movie is not for us. Until finally, I was praying for an angel to come and rescue this film. An angel studio showed up. And they called me and they told me, this movie is for us. Thank you. This movie is for us, Eduardo. We believe in the same vision that you guys have. We believe in the same mission. Art has the power to shape culture. Media influence how people think. I remember 20 years ago, I made a promise to God that I will never use my talents again to do anything that will offend my faith, my family, or my Latino culture. And after I made that promise, I ended up not working for 4 years. So be careful what you promise. And not because there was not enough jobs out there, but because everything that I got offered to do was exactly about the things that I promised I would never do. So I had to turn them down until I lost everything. In one hand, in the other hand, I found everything that really matters in life. I realized that sometimes our own personal dreams, they can become your worst enemies if those dreams are not in line with God's will in your life. So everybody in Hollywood told me, you're never going to work again. It's okay. I wasn't born to be an actor. I was not born to be a producer. I was born to know and to love and to serve God. That's the most important thing for me. We are not called to be successful. Mother Teresa said, we are called to be faithful to God. That is our success. Now, if by being faithful to God, success comes, it's a blessing. Let's use that success to make a difference in people's lives, and let's make this world a better place. But if that success doesn't come, never compromise your values, your faith, God, in order to obtain that success, because that success doesn't come from God. So I was in peace. True freedom is not to do whatever you want to do, but to do the right thing. Freedom without responsibilities is not freedom. So that's why I made a promise until I was tired of waiting for a role that would portray a man as a real man, until someone told me, Eduardo, why don't you open a production company so you can have the power to control the message? And that's what I did with Alejandro Monteverde. And the first fruit of that mission was a little film that changed the life of so many people, including my own life, called Bella. Second film was Little Boy, and this is our third film, Sound of Freedom. And I never imagined, in a million years, that after working for 8 years, one day I was going to be coming out with my third film on July 4th. You have to understand, July 4th in America is the hardest day for an independent film. We were competing with Indiana Jones, Mission Impossible. That's Mission Impossible. For a little film like Sound of Freedom, it's literally, it's suicide. But Angel Studios told us, guys, you're from Mexico. We are from America. As you mentioned before, United States is the #1 consumer of child sex in the world. You're from Mexico. The victims are Mexican children, Latino children. So you are Mexican filmmakers. Come to America and tell us, yes, celebrate freedom, Independence Day, with one hand. But with the other hand, do something to bring freedom back to those children that are not free. Shake our conscience. That's the day. And we came out that day, and that day is the first time in history, cinema history, that a Mexican filmmakers released a film on July 4th, and that film was #1 in America. And I'm just so grateful. All glory to God. All glory to God.
So in service to sometimes the good and the true and the beautiful, we sometimes have to go into the dark and to bring light to the dark. We've seen that in all of the art that's been exhibited today, in the poetry, in the paintings, and certainly your film. And that dark, when we explore in that place, can be transformative. How has the process of making this film and bringing this film to market and changing all of our lives changed you personally?
Well, it changed my life, definitely. But as I said before, you know, media influence how people think. Storytelling. Art has the power to change people's lives forever, for good or for bad. Plato said, if I have to choose between politics or art to govern a nation, he said, I would choose art because art has the power to touch people's hearts and their minds. Therefore, how they think, how they live, how they behave. So storytelling is very powerful, very powerful. I remember when I met Tim Ballard 8 years ago, he told me, I am not the solution, Eduardo. I can be the solution for one child. And of course, you save one child, you save the world. Thank God we are the solution for thousands of children. But we are talking about millions of children that are kidnapped for sexual exploitation. These kids are being raped 10, 15 times a day for many years. And then, when they decline, they don't want them anymore because they're not fresh meat. That's the vocabulary that they use. They go out to the second business. They open them and they sell their organs. We are not the solution. So who is the solution? We need a movement. And art has the power to detonate that movement. I make movies. I said, I'm in. I have a very powerful weapon of mass instruction and inspiration, movies.
Eduardo,
Movies can move people.
let's take that to the next level, because in the operating room, when you have a challenging case, the first thing you do is put more light in the wound. So you've shed light on a problem that I suspect most people here did not realize was as prevalent and getting worse, because these children are slaves, basically. The slave trade is as big as it has ever been. How are you going to change the social fabric with the wisdom and the sentiments that come along with it? And I'd love if you could share something. We had a movie showing last night that many of you were attending. Share a little bit about what you were able to do with the different province leaders within Mexico. And I love your metaphor about the fire engines.
Well, I was tired of waiting for a distribution company to open the doors for this film. And I said, I cannot wait any longer. These children cannot wait any longer. I need to do something, especially if Mexico is the #1 provider of the United States. I'm from Mexico. I need to do something. So I started calling every governor of my country, left, right, up, and down. And I said to them, Mr. Governor, imagine this little house full of children, and the house is on fire. And then this fire truck comes from this direction, this other fire truck comes from this other direction, and then this driver tells this other driver, hey, this is my territory. The other one answered, no, this is my territory. No, they changed the zip code. This is my territory. You want the commission? No, you want the commission. No, you're a thief. No, you're a thief. And they start arguing. When they finished, the children are dead. What they should have done when they got there is to extinguish the fire together, save the children, rescue the children, and continue with the discussion. Well, Mr. Governor, there's millions of children on fire right now. And my invitation to you is to help us to extinguish the fire so we can save those children. How can I help you? Well, why don't we do a private screening of the movie in your state? You host the private screening. You invite every single leader from every sector of our society. We show the film, and at the end, we sign an agreement where we commit to end child trafficking in your state. And then we do a press conference. And we invite all the legislators so they can legislate in favor to protect the children. And all of them say yes. We did a whole campaign in Mexico, 32 states. We signed like 18 agreements until Angel Studios show up. And I have to stop the campaign because I realized that this film has to be seen by millions. And right now, more than 40 millions have seen this film all over the world. The movie came out in 50 countries. It's coming out on Amazon Prime in December. And this is just the beginning. It's just the beginning.
You're speaking to a room of people who are going to and have and will continue to change the world. With this movie, what is the call to action? What is the way that the entire audience can participate in the story of your vision?
Well, the most important thing, of course, I'm Catholic, so I pray the rosary every day. Prayer is very powerful. It's the most powerful thing you can do to another human being. So, pray for the end of child trafficking. Number one. Number two, the first step to eradicate child trafficking is to raise awareness. Because if you don't know that this problem exists, how can you become part of the solution if you don't even know that this problem exists in the first place? So as a filmmaker, I hope I can have a magic wand where I can just touch the problem and then boom, solve. But I don't have the power. But I can raise awareness. I can open the eyes of parents that they don't know about this topic. They think that this is too far away from them. And it's next door. It's everywhere, in every sector. So opening the eyes of parents so they can protect their children in a better way, that's how we are saving lives. For example, my younger sister, I remember 8 years ago when she asked me, so brother, what's your next project? And I said, well, Sound of Freedom, what is it? And I explained, and she said, no, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to know about it. I don't want to know. I don't want to know. I said, Daniela, if someone needs to know, it's you, because you're a mother and your children are the target. You need to know what's going on. And now she's an ambassador of freedom. She protects her children like a lion. And she knows more than me now. And that's what this film is doing. It's opening, it's a movement. It's not a movie anymore. It's a global movement with global solutions to end this global problem. And no one can stop this movement anymore. It's not about Tim Ballard. It's not about me. It's not about Alejandro Monteverde. It's about the children. It's about the movement. And I just want to invite all of you, to become ambassadors of freedom and to do whatever is in your hands. Sky's the limit. Everyone here, it's a leader. You have talents that I don't have. I have talents that you don't have. But together we can complement and we can end child trafficking.
One short question, but it's one I'm suspecting many in the audience are wondering about. Obviously, we've talked about children in general in this session, and it's an indictment of our society if we don't take good care of them. But you've decided to go one step further. You're running for president of Mexico. Why would you do that? We were with some knowledgeable people last night who said, just go make more movies. Why are you thinking about politics?
Mexico is not doing well. We have a communist president right now, López Obrador, and he's destroying our country. I love my country. And we are tired to see our wonderful country being raped by the same politicians for decades. And I want to end child trafficking. And can you imagine what we achieved with $14 million, which is what the movie cost? A global movement that is ending child trafficking, that is saving children around the world. Can you imagine what you can do when you have the police, the army, the budget, the intelligence, the technology? So I will do anything for our children. Children are sacred. It's the most important thing of our country. Children, they are the future decision makers. What kind of decisions they're going to make if we, as adults, we don't take care of them? And that's why I'm willing to give my life to the country that I love, Mexico. And pray for me, because this is I'm not a politician, I'm an outsider, I'm a filmmaker, but I love my country and I love to serve, and that's why I'm doing this.
Eduardo Verástegui.
Congratulations. Thank you. Enjoy.